Hey geeks, it's Minx, and this is going to be sort of a setup for season 2 of Marvel's Agent Carter, which returns on Tuesday, which, yes, is in only a couple days, or actually a day, it's tomorrow, um, for a 2 hour thing. Few things first. Agent Carter actually fills in the gap between the mid-season finale for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and when it returns. So it's actually a really short season. A lot of people don't realize it's only about 8 episodes or so. But there's a really cool thing that happens because of that. It's a very short season, but they have the same uh budget that a normal show has. So like a normal 13 to 20, episode show has a specific budget, and Marvel's Agent Carter actually has that same budget, but in a shorter time span, which means they can actually spend more on effects and props and locations and all of that, which makes it really awesome. It actually ups the ante for the show. Um, so that's one thing that I actually really like about Agent Carter. Um, but with that said, let's recap where we were left at the end of season 1. It, of course, takes place in New York. It's after Cap has disappeared. So Peggy's dealing with a lot of depression because of that. She is a member of what is pretty much the government agency before S.H.I.E.L.D. It ends up getting absorbed into S.H.I.E.L.D. and aka becoming S.H.I.E.L.D. Um, and she's pretty much the only chick in here. She's very much being picked on because everyone's like a total misogynist. They don't think she can do anything. They thought she was simply Cap's liaison instead of actually being a full on, ballsy, um, I can handle myself kind of chick. Um, she doesn't get a lot of credit until towards the end of the season when they start realizing, holy hell, she's a badass. She ends up having to help out um, Tony's father, and because he's being framed for letting a bunch of his inventions get out, which in all actuality they actually got stolen by a underground faction named Leviathan, which I'm wondering if we're gonna see more of. I kind of hope we do. Um, and so Peggy has to kind of lead a double life for the most part because she ends up having to kind of search on her own for the true answers because her agency is actually tasked with trying to prove Stark's guilt. So she kind of has to throw them off the scent while at the same time try and find the real answers and who really stole the stuff because she, of course, believes Stark. Um, with that said, we get to meet Jarvis, the actual Jarvis that Tony's Jarvis was kind of based on. Um, Absolutely hilarious, and he plays a really good sidekick, perfect for that boost of comic relief. And he's also a little bit badass in his own respect. We get to find out why he is so dedicated to Stark, mostly because he actually risked everything to help Jarvis get his wife out of a really tough situation because she was a Jew in the time of Hitler, so had to save her from being sent to a concentration camp, which was pretty epic. We end up meeting kind of a predecessor to Black Widow. We know that Black Widow was a trained assassin um, by a elite secret uh, thing, Black Widow program in Russia, and we actually get to meet another one, kind of like I said, a predecessor to her. All we know is that the name that they've given us is Dottie Underwood. That's the persona that she had taken on to try and infiltrate and find out more stuff about Peggy. They end up having some badass showdowns. The chick is fucking nuts, okay? Like, there's some crazy stuff that happens, kind of like, whoa! Some crazy badassery. She ends up surviving a fall out of a window onto a plane wing. Of course, the plane is in a hangar, but I mean, there's some serious blood action. She crazy. She just crazy. Um, One thing I really like about this is that they do not shy away from really highly coordinated, full energy um, fisticuffs. Uh, they don't shy away from it. Haley Atwell just tears it up. She just wrecks people pretty much every episode, um, which is pretty damn awesome. It shows you she truly can hold her own. It brings a lot of strength to the character, not just because she's violent, but they actually do also show a lot of her intelligence, how she works through investigative problems, you know, how she follows up leads, and the fact that she's pretty much outsmarting all of her coworkers, and I appreciate that. This is one of the shows that I actually use as an example for strong female leads. It's kind of on the same level for me as Once Upon a Time in that way. Uh, and so I really appreciate that. Plus, you had Dottie Underwood, who was just crazy and just on her own level as far as strength. There's also some other characters that are very strong. They bring some real fluid emotion to their respective things. And I like the fact that Jarvis is a sidekick. He doesn't take over scenes. He's there to, supplement Peggy and, her strengths, which is really cool. One of the things last season that I was a little unsure about, which grew on me towards the end of the season, and I want to see what they do with it in season two, if they do anything with it, was Chad Michael Murray's character, Jack Thompson. Complete misogynist in the very beginning. It made me really hate his character. Um, I've seen, I've seen God, like the first 5 episode or first 5 seasons of like One Tree Hill. I've seen some of his movies. He's not one of my favorite actors. I'm not. We used to when Rev and I were reviewing season one of Agent Carter. We used to call him One Tree, uh, and it was pretty clear I didn't really care for him that much. But he did grow on me towards the end of the season, especially after he opened up about the shame he felt um, taking credit for saving his commanding officer when he actually didn't realize that the people he killed were coming to surrender. Um, when he told that to Peggy, and then when he was trying, you could tell he was changing how he saw her. Um, Not completely, but it was an ongoing evolution for their working relationship, and I look forward to seeing if they continue that in season two. I also want to see how her relationship with Sousa actually unfolds. We know from the Captain America movie that eventually she did marry. Um, she eventually did move on, even though she always loved Steve, and that never changed. But we know she did marry, and I wonder if she didn't marry Sousa, because Sousa still has a hefty thing for her, and they seem to get along pretty well. My guess is it's probably going to be him. Although wouldn't be that far of a stretch if it ended up being Jack, um, just because of how tumultuous their um, working relationship started. I could see it happening. But I can't wait to see that. I want to see a return of Dottie Underwood. I want to see some more badass fights between the two of them. I just think that would be absolutely epic and a great show. Although I fully expect her to be wrecking people's faces like every episode anyway. I want to see if they explain more about Leviathan. It is something from the comics, although they did tweak it a bit for the show. Um, and the way they brought it out is slightly. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they combined Leviathan with another like underground secret, you know, uh, not really agency. I don't want to say agency, kind of a group, a brotherhood kind of thing. Um, so I'll be interested to see if they bring that up again. One thing I'm curious about is why they are suddenly moving locations, why it's going so drastically from. Sorry for that beep, guys. I think I left my Facebook open. Um, why it's going so drastically from New York, which is, to be expected, to LA. Like, I get that their, headquarters got blown up because of one of Stark's things. They blew up the captain um, of the agency, the leader of the agency, which was actually kind of an epic thing. He was actually a pretty, um, complex character, which I also appreciated. They've actually been bringing a lot of that. Um, but why it feels like almost like too sudden, especially when they were in the middle of an investigation regarding the Leviathan stuff. Um, which, yeah, they did arrest Dr. Ivchenko, but there's still more to it. He's only the tip of the iceberg, and we know this. Um, so I'll be looking forward to see how they explain that. Um, and maybe it's just a change of pace. We've seen Souza in the trailer for season 2. I didn't see Jack though. I'm hoping they do bring Jack back. Yeah, so didn't see One Tree, uh, but I can't wait to see how that goes, and I can't wait to see Haley Atwell in action again. And it looks like it's going to be another short season, which means that should mean a lot of great action and great effects because, like I said, they have the same budget for a short season that typical shows have for a full season. So it should be pretty dynamic. Um, I'm super excited. This last year blew me away. I think there was only one episode that got below an A. Um, and the more I like a show, the harsher I will judge it. And I again will be doing letter grades for it, just like I do for Once Upon a Time, which I'm also looking forward to coming back soon. Um, so yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow after the first premiere episode. It is a 2-hour special episode, so be prepared. Set aside time. It's at 9 o'clock, 8 Central on ABC. And if you end up missing it tomorrow, that's fine. You'll be able to catch it on WatchABC.com after it airs. I think it takes about a day before it shows up. With that said, if you want to watch more of my reviews on Agent Carter, Once Upon a Time, and any other show I end up picking up, go ahead and hit that red button down there that says subscribe. That helps me out a lot. Like this video and feel free to comment. I answer all comments. And if you want some examples, I've actually had some really good discussions via comments on my Once Upon a Time videos. So, yeah. Later, geeks.